Hi, guys. I'm back today with a guest from across the Atlantic. I have Julie on with us, Julie Tillett, and she is coming on from Ireland to talk about spinal flow and her journey leading up to it. Hi, Julie. Thank you so much for joining
There.
today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, it's so exciting. I love the age of internet, how we can just have conversations from across the world.
Yeah, I
And
know.
and I didn't know you prior, but here we are talking and to know each
I
other. It's so
know.
cool.
Yeah, I
So
know. Yeah, it's so funny. It's just the world has become so much smaller now, thanks to modern technology. It's great.
it's so great. I know. So Julie and I were chatting along before I hit record, and I'm like, we gotta pause on this and hit record because the conversation was just flowing and it was so fun. So I might have to ask a little bit of repeat questions to back us up to catch the audience up. But let's start, Julie, with your tell everybody what you do for work and what kind of led you to finding spinal flow technique.
Gosh, okay. So I suppose my main trade would be I'm a qualified nurse, have been for over 30 years now. So that kind of makes me a bit of an old matron in terms of nursing maturity. I currently work out in the community for a home help company, so I would be known as a area nurse or a client care manager, and I live in Ireland. I'm originally from England and I moved to Ireland in 2000 and I live on the border of County Clare and County Galway, which is on the west coast of Ireland. So I cover County Clare with my job and I go and visit clients in their own homes and introduce them to the carers that are going in to help them in the homes. And if there's any complex issues, I might meet the doctors out there or other members of the team. So I suppose, really, from a personal perspective, my background has always been in healthcare. Even before I went to do my nurse training, I was what you would have called a healthcare assistant or a nurse and auxiliary back in those days, because that was a long time ago. And but I've always been drawn to the alternative and the holistic side of things, and I suppose really I started to look at outside of the is it the allopathic, I suppose, way of
Yeah, yeah.
um of treating the person at around it was about 2015, 2016. I had a bit of a breakthrough, whatever you want to call it. My mental
Mm,
health suffered. I'd
mm,
gone through a really nasty divorce. My children were still quite young. There was a point where whether I didn't know whether I was going to have to sell my home. There was a lot of stress going on, and I was working 12-hour shifts
mhm.
as a nurse, as nurses do, and still raising three children myself, and they were still in school at this point. So after school club, sports, homework, the whole thing. So anyway, I hit
Too much.
burnout, or had a bit of a spiritual awakening, and I did some different treatments. I did craniosacral therapy. I did a little bit of reflexology and stuff. This was just for me personally, just to help me through. And in 2018, I actually studied craniosacral therapy
Mhm.
and graduated in 2020, but never practiced as a craniosacral therapist because COVID, lockdown, everything was,
Sure.
so didn't get all my full practice hours in to graduate as a certified craniosacral therapist.
Mhm.
So anyway, COVID came and went, and my children got older, and they've left school now, and they've become a little bit more independent, and
Mhm.
life settled. And I found Spinal Flow. We're 2025 now, aren't we? So it would have been about 2023.
Okay.
And
Early on then. Early on.
yeah,
Spinal flow.
I done my Reiki 1 and my Reiki 2, and I was on Instagram and I was scrolling, and I actually came across spinal energetics, okay,
Oh,
with Dr.
yes.
Jane. And I was watching the whole, as
Mhm.
I would describe it, it was like someone was doing a caterpillar on a massage table,
Oh, that's a great way to describe it. I love that. Yes.
I was just like, what is this? Like,
Yeah.
because even throughout craniosacral therapy training, I'd never had anybody that moved, or
Mm.
I had people that had like emotional releases and stuff, but never had other kind
The
of release
automatic body movements.
the body movements.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it was during the craniosacral therapy training that I learned all about like trauma,
Mm-hmm.
how the body, if if you don't express it, and you suppress it, then your body will tell you, it will manifest itself as some form of emotional pain, dysfunction, whatever, gut issue, all of that. And that blew my mind wide open because I've been in nursing for years and I pretty much thought I knew everything. I was a bit ignorant like that, and I thought
Sure.
I've seen it all, done it all.
Yeah.
And when we were asked about Bessel, to read Bessel van der Kolk's book, The Body Keeps a Score, and Peter Levine has written a book called Waking the Tiger.
Mm.
And that was part of our curriculum to read these books. And I was just like, oh my God,
A whole
you
new
know,
world opened up, huh?
soldiers, I didn't think anyone could even. And it made so much sense because in essence, I would have had PTSD myself,
Mhm.
from experiences in the past. But I just put it down to, as my mother would say, oh, put up a stiff upper lip and get on with it and be strong. And,
Mhm.
the World War II generation would be very much like, oh, just march on and we just get on with it and we forget
Yeah.
about it and
Yeah.
put it out of head. So, yeah, so this blew my world wide open. So I came across Dr. Carly's Spinal Flow on Instagram, found spinal energetics first, looked at that and thought, not quite sure. Then looked at Dr. Carly's and thought maybe that's a stepping stone into that world.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
nice and gentle and easy, and for me, quite new to, holistic therapies. Spinal Flow was great. Not Spinal Flow, sorry. Spinal Energetics was absolutely amazing. But I live in Ireland, and like, I just think they would call the priest on me if I started that.
Yeah, yeah. So let's pause real quick just to explain to people. So I haven't taken spinal energetics either, but from what I understand, from what I've seen when I was researching, just the same as you, and I
Mm,
chose Dr.
mm,
Carly's instead.
mm,
Spinal energetics, from what I understand, the body has different layers. So like here's the body, and then there's a layer here of energy, and then there's a
mm.
layer here of energy, a different kind of energy, and then a different kind, and a different kind, and a different kind. There's like
Yeah,
7 layers
yeah,
high. I'm
7 different layers. Yeah, as
Yeah, and
far as
so what the spinal energetics oh,
what I've
sorry.
seen. Yeah. So yeah, but it's more of an energetic. I don't think there is as much touch involved, physical
Correct.
involved with spinal compared to spinal flow. Spinal flow really appealed to me, but I suppose because of the craniosacral therapy background as
Yes.
well, Reiki, and I suppose, as a nurse, I'd be a very tactile, touchy person,
Yeah.
so
And
it
people
really,
can understand the touch reaction better than they can
yeah,
understand working in energy layers.
yeah. So that's why, because I felt that it was more not tactile, but I suppose it was more, I think spinal flow would be more physical than
Mhm.
energetic.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And easier for people that are brand new to this world
Yeah,
to digest, to
yeah,
assimilate and to be like, okay, I can understand that and it's not too out there in the realm of woo woo.
yeah.
Mhm.
Because that's how I felt, initially, because I suppose I've been so used to, the allopathic method
Yeah,
of medical care
correct.
that somebody said, come on, jump on table, do spinal energetics, I would have just have been like, what are they doing? Like, how is that going to help me? Are they deliberately? Are they moving? And it was only really when I went on to my immersive with Spinal Flow that I moved on the table.
You did? Oh,
I,
cool.
yeah. And I obviously saw lots of people, though. I think there was about 100 of us in Barcelona, so when we were observing, you could see people moving and it was like, oh my God. And it was so cool to see
Mhm.
the spinal flow in action rather
Yes.
than on the screen,
Yes.
but when you see it randomly happening, with your colleagues. And
Yeah.
then when I got on the table and I actually started to move, I thought, I'm moving, and I knew I was moving, But even when I tried to stop myself from moving, I still had this overwhelming urge to move.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, just, do what your body wants you to do. If, lift your leg up, like bring
Yeah.
up your hip, whatever you want to do. And, I had a little bit of a twitchy shoulder thing going on. And it
Yeah.
was lovely. It was so nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and tell the audience, like when you were like lifting your leg or lifting your hip, it wasn't like a straining thing. It wasn't like a workout, right? It was just, yeah, explain that.
It was very, very natural. It was like my leg was moving, but I wasn't forcing it to move.
Correct. It's so
Um,
cool.
yeah, it just, like it was flow. It was flow. That's the easiest way I
Yeah.
can describe it. It was like it was just okay. We'll move the leg. You know how like sometimes if you ever suffer from like restless leg syndrome and you get this and then you have to go, oh, I have to move my leg. I have to move my leg. It wasn't like that at all. It was just there was this. I don't know. It was like there was this presence there, this flow, and then all of a sudden my leg was moving before I even kind of knew what
Yeah.
was happening really. And
Yeah.
then I kind of conscious of it, but I wasn't like, oh, why is
Uh-huh.
my leg doing that? It was
Yeah.
just very, very natural. And yeah,
Yeah,
it
and it's to
was so
explain also to the audience, it's kind of so because it almost can sound like spooky woo woo a little bit as we're describing it, but because I've experienced it too, it's more like your body's trying to unwind itself. Like that's how I
yeah,
felt when I had it
yeah,
happen to me. Like my neck lifted, my head lifted, it started moving
yeah.
around. It's like the body's doing its own thing, and you just let it do it, but it's like unwinding itself.
And it is, and I suppose because the body is inherently like intelligent, it knows what it needs. And like if you said, you moved your neck to unwind, it could have been that maybe there was a little blockage there.
Correct.
The flow wasn't getting to where it should be going. So your body was saying, okay, we'll just move your neck a small bit there, and that'll open that channel up just to get the flow going.
Yes.
So, and obviously, consequently, since I've seen it with my clients as well, not everybody moves. Some people, we have the three different types of movement with the spinal flow. So it could be perception, or it could be more of a breath movement, as well as the physical, movement with the spinal flow. But I often find as well that maybe on the first visit, the first couple of visits, clients may not move as much initially, but then, after a few visits, a few
Their body
sessions,
kind of knows what's going on
oh,
and
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And it's okay. I think you don't have to move either. I think it's,
correct.
some people are very, very still and they have the perception there. But as long as you know that there's flow going for the healing to happen, it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's all that
Mm,
matters. Yeah. And some people can have all three in one session. So there's no Dr. Carly said don't label people, a mover or a non-mover or whatever because it's whatever the body needs at that time it's going to do.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And that's it. And I just, when I have my clients on the table, I just go with them, whatever their body is doing, and, sometimes you can be, maybe you make contact with the access points on the sacrum, and then you might think, okay, there's, from the top of the head and the neck, and it may be in between the shoulder blades, it's not going, the flow is stopping there, or there's some, so then, you know to go to the head and, or go down to the feet, so but it's again that's very intuitive as well because it's not like I'm saying I'm going to be on this access point for until the
Yeah.
song is finished and then I'm going to move to the head. It's never like that.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. It's very intuitive and like you say you
Yeah.
listen to yourself. I love that. So, okay, so you were slash still are working full time and you are building your spinal flow business. Um,
Mm.
do you happen to have off the top of your head some like testimonial stories that you could share with people on what spinal flow has helped people with or even
Um, well, actually, I should send you on my before and after photo from my immersive
Oh,
because
yeah.
my posture, I couldn't get over the change in myself
In just
that
1 week.
in just 1 week. Yeah. And
Cool.
be fair, Sarah, I didn't even think I had postural issues when I went, and I took this photograph on day one and I looked in my back and I kind of went, oh, okay. And then I thought to myself, well, I've been nursing over 30 years. My back is absolutely crippled anyway, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so I just put it down to wear and tear and it being perfectly normal for me.
Yeah.
I think on day 7 we went into our pods and we did treatment on each other, and we took photographs again. And it was only when I put them side by side that I was like, wow. But of
Yeah.
course, and I felt amazing as well. One story as well that helped me was that I used to suffer with anxiety and panic attacks quite a lot as
Oh,
a result of, just stress that went on in my life and my childhood. And
yeah.
part of that was what I didn't like heights or confined spaces.
Yeah.
Okay. And when we were in Barcelona, we were in the hotel on the beach, and I had to go up to the 11th floor because we were doing our videos for our assessments. And one of the girls had a room up on the 11th floor, which is only halfway up the hotel.
It was a
I
big one. Okay.
felt huge. And anyway, I got onto the lift and I was like, will I say anything to them? And I thought, no, and I got into the lift and I was perfectly relaxed and I was absolutely
Yeah.
fine. And when the doors opened, we had this lovely, beautiful panoramic view of the beach in Barcelona, and you can overlook the
Yeah.
city. And I was just like, wow, look at this. And oh my God. Oh, yeah, yeah, it's great. You can see everything from up here, and it's a beautiful day. And then we did the videos and everything, and at the end I said to them, I said, you wouldn't believe that. I said, before, I would never have been out. If you said to me like 2 weeks ago, I'm on the 11th floor, I wouldn't have gone past the 6th. I would have been like, I'm sorry, I can't go up there.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I didn't freak out once. I
That's
was absolutely
amazing.
flying home. I was there looking out the window, looking, oh, look at everything, whereas before I'd be on the
Yeah.
plane and I'd be like, can't look, can't look. So
That's so cool. That's the first testimonial I've heard of like that nature. That is so cool.
yeah.
So yeah,
I
that really shows all the things Spinal Flow can help with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I have a gentleman that comes to me, and he wouldn't live too far away from me now. He'd be a farmer. We live in Ireland. We're very
Mhm.
rural. There's a lot of
Mhm.
farming and agricultural stuff going on.
Mhm.
This gentleman, and I'm not putting him in a box or anything, but sometimes Irishmen aren't great at looking after themselves. They never
Sure.
go to the doctor. The diet wouldn't be great. They'd be eating takeaway food, burgers, or
Yeah, I think that's
the
kind of
deli.
common across the male species.
Yeah. So he's had 2 hip replacements because of wear and tear, osteoarthritis, and he'd be very, I suppose, as a farmer, he'd be a very physical person, lifting, heavy bags of
Yeah.
feed, bales of hay and everything, and pulling on the horses and the cattle and stuff. So he had 1 hip replacement about 10 years ago. Second hip replacement was 2 years ago, but his back, he had chronic lower back pain to the point where he was going to the hospital to get injections into his spine.
Oh
So
man.
I'm assuming they're like some sort of an epidural or a steroid
Mhm.
injection.
Yeah.
But the last time he had it done was earlier last year, and it didn't go well for him at all. He was getting really bad, like sciatic pain down his left leg, to the point where sometimes he would lose sensation in his foot,
Yeah.
and his leg would feel very numb and rubbery and everything. So yeah, he comes to me about 3 times a week, and no pain, no pain, absolutely perfect mobility. He no longer walks with a limp. He's no pain. His leg is part of his body again. He's feeling his leg and his feet and his toes, and has got full sensation, full movement, full strength. Hasn't had to go back to the hospital to get any more injections. Yeah, he loves coming. He loves. Now, this would be, this kind of, I suppose, gentleman would be, holistic care wouldn't be a thing that he would have considered.
No, but now he's a believer.
Come 100%, and he's telling all his bodies as well. Yeah, yeah.
That's
So
so cool. That's so, so cool. I wonder
yeah.
if it was difficult for him to even go ahead and try the first few sessions, because it was such something that he normally wouldn't do for himself.
Yeah. I think you're right there. And it was only because, like, he's a neighbor of mine, and I'd helped him through after he had his hip replacement, because he lives alone. His mother died. He's a bachelor, has no family to
Yeah.
care for him. And I suppose, I had looked after his mother before she died there a few years ago. And so when he went in for his hip, so we used to keep horses down his stables as well, so that myself and my daughter were down, mucking out and feeding the cows and the horses and, keeping everything sorted for him. But then I would go and help him with his physio and then maybe drive him to his appointments. And, I was changing his dressing from the surgical wound that he had from the hip replacement.
Mm-hmm.
So it was only when I was talking to him about it, about this course that I was doing, and he said, "What exactly is it?" And when I was explaining it to him, he kind of was like, "Do you think it would help me?" I said, "Absolutely, it would. Yeah, yeah, absolutely." I said, "And it's not going to hurt you anyway, definitely,
Yeah.
And he said, "Okay, I'll give it a go," and that was it. So yeah,
And about how many sessions? You said you saw him 3 times a week, and
yeah. So
for how long
he's
before you noticed results?
only I'd say so three, maybe session 4 or 5. He had said to me when he got off the table, this feels, yeah, this is great, and then he'd come back 2 days later and I'd say, how was the pain? Pain's brilliant. No pain. No, even getting out of bed in the morning, it would be agony for him, and he'd have to reach for the painkillers before he could start moving,
Yes.
and very, very slow to get going. But yeah, so that
Wow.
was I'd say I started seeing him maybe August time, end of August, September time, through to November. Well, no, really December, I suppose, Christmas. And now he's coming once a week now. And he's still, pain as well is really under control.
And
So
yet it was so bad, he probably was thinking he was going to have spinal surgery.
yeah, yeah. And that's what the doctors were suggesting to him as well.
Yeah.
Even getting on and off the massage table was an ordeal for him initially.
Yeah.
You
That
know, it,
that's
yeah,
so life-changing. Like for anybody out there that's I've actually had a lumbar spinal surgery a decade plus ago. And so I can identify with everything you were describing. And
yeah.
it is absolutely life-changing. Like, I remember saying the back surgery saved my life, but you saved his life with spinal flow and he didn't even have to go through surgery. That's
I know, yeah.
amazing.
And he didn't want to have surgery because one of the injections he'd had, I think it hit the nerve. I know it's like a nerve block that they do when they
Sure.
get when they back injections. I think however he described it to me, he said that it was the most uncomfortable experience of his life ever. And until the actual injection had kicked in and taken effect, the shocks going up and down his left leg, and he just said it was horrendous, and he just didn't want to have it done again.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds terrible. The poor guy. Oh,
Yeah, it wasn't nice, and even the pain of the needle going in, and I don't know. I've seen when they do lumbar punctures and things in hospitals, and I've had epidurals myself, like, during childbirth.
yeah.
But I just think when you mess around with your back,
It's pretty scary.
it's not just the back that you're dealing with, it's your whole
Yeah.
body.
Yeah.
Like Charlie calls it, the nervous system, the brain, and the spine is the master controller.
Yes.
It's so
And
if
there's
you
a
don't,
reason that it's got a protective sheath around it that we shouldn't be going and
yeah,
puncturing a hole in. Oh,
yeah,
or I mean, I
yeah,
shouldn't say shouldn't, but maybe there's reasons for it at times, but there's a reason that it's there too, to protect the body.
yeah. And if there's an alternative that can be done instead, or at least tried, and say, we'll try this first and see if this works, rather than, because I think it is very extreme, and it is kind of like, what's the word? Not last chance saloon, but like it's um,
Well, it
the
is kind
last,
of the last
it's
resort
the last thing,
option.
or, I suppose immobility, or,
Hmm.
being confined with pain the whole time. Pain is, anyone. Can you hear my dog snoring? she's snoring here. Is that,
I wish I could hear her, but no, I can't.
I'm just so going,
That's so
I've
cute.
had to explain what that noise is.
That's funny.
Yeah. But any kind of pain has a massive, massive effect on your life.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and I know somebody says, "Oh, I've got a headache, I'll take a paracetamol," but it's like, why have you a headache in the first place?
Mhm.
Why is the
Mm.
pain there? Body
Yeah.
is trying to tell you something. We need to listen to it.
Yes. And it's so refreshing to hear this coming from a nurse, like you say, somebody that's lived their whole working career in traditional medicine.
Throwing
So
out pills. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's so great that you have that open mind.
Well, it didn't happen overnight. It's been a struggle. It has been a struggle, but it made so much sense. It was just made so much perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
Like when I was taught about trauma and how the body holds on to experiences, and things. And I just thought, why were we not taught this in nursing school?
I
Why
know.
aren't doctors taught this? I mean, psychologists to a certain degree, I think, are, but they don't go. It's still mainly around the mind rather than
Yeah.
the body.
Yeah.
And
And
even
they're
though
connected. They are
they are
connected.
connected, but it's still, like I suppose Western medicine is very much like we treat everything. If you've got a broken leg, it's the leg that's broken. Don't worry about anything else. We'll just look at the
Yeah.
leg. We'll fix that bone. Doesn't matter that it's connected to a hip or connected to the
Hmm.
ankle or the feet, and
Yeah.
that the leg isn't moving. And then if you're not moving, then you could put on weight, and then that's going
Yeah.
to put pressure on, and it's just has a compound effect,
Sure.
a knock-on effect, I
Yes.
suppose. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Domino. Yeah. One thing leads to
Yeah.
another. It's all connected. Yeah.
Connected.
Oh, that's so cool. So when you first saw that I was doing these videos and you reached out to have a video with me, what was your goal? Like, did you want to talk about anything in particular? I should have asked you this before we started, but I'm curious now. Like,
Yeah.
did I just don't want to accidentally skip over something that you maybe wanted to bring up?
No, not really. No, I just said I'd reach out there. Really, there's because Spinal Flow is an up and coming
Heck yeah.
modality, especially in Ireland. Like I think I was the third spinal flow practitioner to be certified, and there's a few more now. I know there was a girl who went to Barcelona before Christmas,
Hmm.
and there was a couple there as well. So it's a growing modality in Ireland, which is great because it means then I can go and get spinal flow as well.
Yeah,
It's yeah,
exactly. The
yeah.
practitioner needs some treatments too.
Yeah, that's the thing, I mean, the self-healing technique is great, and
But nothing
it-
replaces laying on the table and just not having to think.
yeah, and I just think spinal flow is just such a beautiful, gentle modality, and it's so effective that, I'm delighted to see, more names popping up in the chat, on the Facebook, that
Yeah.
people coming in from Ireland. So I suppose really it's just putting it out there, just
Yeah,
so.
bringing awareness.
Because often there's some people, like I even had a girl the other day, she reached out to me on Instagram and she said, "Oh my God, I didn't realize you did spinal flow." And I said, "Yeah, She said, "Oh my God." And I said, "Have you seen it?" And of course, isn't it funny how it just appears to you when you're scrolling on social media? Everyone I've spoken to, when I've said, "How did you find out?" Well, apart from my farmer neighbor, because he doesn't do social media,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
everybody else has said, they saw something either on TikTok or Instagram or
Yeah,
that one of the videos from Dr. Carly
yeah.
or somebody else, and they were intrigued and they were drawn to it. So I've got a girl come in on Saturday, and she's a reflexologist, and so we'll probably swap sessions. I'll probably just a short
Yes.
me session I'll give you, but she's really, really, really interested, and she's seen
Yeah.
the videos and the benefits, and but she was delighted to know that there was one this side of Ireland, like up in Northern Ireland, there's a few up there as well. That would be considered not being controversial or anything, but that's part of the UK,
Oh,
and it would be like a 4 hour drive, up
yeah, yeah.
north.
So it's so nice for people to find out that there are
Yeah,
practitioners more
yeah,
closer to them and growing.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I have people traveling 2 hours to come to me,
yeah.
like from, Mayo, and they drive down from County Mayo through to County Galway to see me. And,
Good.
sometimes that can be tough now if they want to come like 3 times a week and there's a
Yeah,
2 hour drive in each direction.
yeah.
That's a lot, like, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I did an interview recently with another gal who said that when she was a client and then she became a practitioner later. But when
Yeah.
she was a client, the way that the practitioner did it for her was she had like twice a week sessions, but her twice a week was in the same day. So she would like come in the morning and then do something and then have another afternoon session and then go home.
Go home.
So I thought that was interesting, that she's still getting it twice a week, but it was all on the same day and it worked for the schedule and she still got massive benefits from it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and that's, I suppose I haven't had anyone do that with me yet, but there's a lady who reached out to me. Her daughter has Down syndrome and she's living in Dublin. So
Hmm.
that will be about, depending, I suppose, on how fast they travel up the motorway, but it'd be 2 hours, maybe 2.5,
Yeah.
to where I am. And she has asked, would Spinal Flow help her daughter? And I said,
Hmm.
absolutely, helps
Yeah.
anybody, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah. So maybe if she, once we book in, she may do something like that. I might say come in the morning and then go off, and maybe they can go to the sea, the sea.
Yeah. Have a little relaxing break.
Yeah, or go,
Hmm.
wandering in Galway City, or go around the Burren or whatever, and just do a little bit of a touristy thing, and then come back
That's a
before they.
really, really great idea. I just had a inspired thought of like you could market it as like spinal flow tours, right? Like you're getting a tour of your local area and you're getting two spinal flow sessions in that package, something like that. I know that's cool though. Yeah, what a great
Yeah,
idea.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's a really cool idea. And I thought about retreats as well.
Hmm.
Thinking about the retreats, I might look into doing maybe something in the summer.
Yeah.
Start reaching out. There's a yoga center not far from me. They do retreats there. So I'm wondering whether maybe I can join them and,
Oh,
you
I'm sure
know,
they would love that. Yeah, that's a
yeah,
wonderful idea. Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, so for people listening, retreats are really good to go to because, like Julie was saying, just 1 week of her being at her Spinal Flow Immersive in
yeah,
Barcelona, her posture was night and day difference in just 1 week. And so that's kind of how a retreat is. You're getting multiple sessions per day, back to back, and that's when a lot of healing occurs.
yeah, yeah. It's just so beautiful. It really is. It's lovely. And
Yeah.
it's nice. And I feel as well, like I feel when I give a spinal flow session, it's therapeutic for me too.
It's very relaxing for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think there's a benefit to both parties for sure.
yeah, yeah. The whole connection, and I think your nervous system slowing down and re-regulating, and
Yeah.
your clients is as well, and it's just there's that connection as well, through the touch.
Yeah.
So
So even though you're probably going 90 miles an hour, all day long in your nursing career, when you come home and do a spinal flow session in the evening, it might at first feel like, oh, one more thing I have to do today, like 14-hour day. But when you actually start doing it,
mm,
it's almost like a little break for you in a way because it's like you say, calms your own nervous system too.
yeah,
Better
yeah.
than like watching TV.
Oh, I rarely watch TV now.
Yeah.
I read TV. I might do a bit of doom. They call it doom scrolling, don't they? Doom scrolling on the social media. But
That's funny.
I call it research because I like to go through all, spinal flow videos, and,
Yeah.
see some of my colleagues that do spinal flow as well, because I find that we're all very inspirational.
Yeah.
I draw great inspiration from other spinal flow practitioners, or
That's true.
any practitioner from a holistic modality, just to
Yeah.
how, yeah, yeah,
Inspirational and positivity too. Like we're all lifting each other up. It's a great community to be a part of.
yeah, very much so. Yeah, yeah, the high vibe. And
Hmm.
like, I mean, 2025 hasn't started under the best terms, really. I mean, if you look at California, and
Yeah.
there's stuff going on all over the world, you've got Gaza, and you just think, like, it's just sometimes it can just be too much. It
Yeah.
could just be too much. So I think sometimes that intention, putting out that healing out there, even if you can't physically help somebody,
Hmm.
the whole intention, the
Hmm.
thought process, can just lighten things up a small bit, and hopefully make a
Yeah.
difference anyway.
Oh, definitely. I don't know. I'm a Christian, and so when you said that, I couldn't help but think of the scripture that talks about the prayer of the righteous one has a powerful effect, and a prayer is an intention. So,
It is.
if everybody around the world is praying for people, like you said, in California with the wildfires and in Gaza and all these issues, it is powerful. It does have a powerful effect.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. I think it does, and it's just, you may not see them immediately, but, change does happen.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, Julie, I want to come visit you now. I have to go to Ireland.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful country. I actually don't miss England at all. I know I shouldn't say that, but I, I don't miss.
Well, I think I would rather go to Ireland than England. I mean, you just
Yeah,
so,
no, it is. But now, obviously, we get a lot of rain here. We do. And last week was crazy. We had snow and the whole country ground to a halt because we're just not equipped to snow at all. Gosh. Because our roads are like little, we call them boreen,
oh, scary.
grassel, and yeah,
Yeah,
tiny little laneways. And
yeah,
the motorways even were covered with snow and there was crashes everywhere. Oh, it was carnage.
yeah, yeah. Stay home. Stay home on a random snow day there.
Hopefully it won't come back. That's our winter done and dusted now. It's back to the rain today.
Good, good,
Yeah.
good, good. So, what's the best months to come if you don't want your whole vacation to be rainy?
Oh, no, there's a question. I would say from June probably until September,
It's
but last
safe.
it rained every day.
Oh,
But it's warm rain.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
When it
It's just
rains there, does it rain and then go away, or does it stay rainy the whole time?
depends. So sometimes you can have showers. So say like it could be raining here and then I could go into my local town and it could be sunny.
Okay.
And you can what I always say it's four seasons in one day. You have a bit of wind and like we had last week we had the snow and the hail and everything as well. But yeah, no, normally if you wake up and it's raining, you normally kind of know that the rain is set there for the day. It might stop raining, but it's grey, cloudy, and then the rain will come again. But like one of the years, I think it was during lockdown, COVID. I don't know if it's 2021 or 2020, I can't remember. March, the end of March, I was working from home and we had 22 degrees. And I actually remember sat out in my garden with the laptop and I was trying to look at the screen, the sun was shining in and it was beautiful weather. But it wasn't normal because it was like, it's only March. Look at the weather, and people were getting sunburnt.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so the seasons are all kind of moving around. Are all a bit confused in Ireland at the moment. But
Yeah. I think
you know,
that's happening everywhere. Yeah, it's really weird. Like Idaho, Montana, where I just moved from, normally has a ton of snow, a ton by January. And right now they can still see the bare ground. So it's pretty
really.
crazy. Pretty crazy.
So Montana. So I've just finished watching Yellowstone. So yeah.
Yeah.
So that's on my bucket list.
Well, and to be fair for my Montana friends that are watching, Montana is a huge state. So I was referring to the border on Idaho. That side of Montana doesn't have any snow right now. The other side over by Yellowstone, I believe they did get a good snowfall
Yeah.
finally. But still, yeah,
Oh,
the weather patterns are very, very strange right now for sure. But
yeah. We
well, my
should swap. You can come and stay at mine, and I'll come and stay at yours.
let's do it. Oh, that's a great idea. Oh my gosh, that's a good idea. Yeah. Well, right now I'm in Florida. So, yeah, if you want to come visit Florida, that could be fun too.
Florida.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah, they're down. They're down Cape Coral. Cape
Okay.
Coral.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Where it's
Um,
and now they're down in Cape Coral. Yeah, they just they escaped the hurricane, the big hurricane there.
oh, good.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, so that's on my bucket list too.
Cool. Well, we definitely have to stay connected then.
Yeah.
Is there anything that I didn't ask that you did want to mention for final comments? How about in addition to that question, also tell people how they can reach you if they are in Ireland?
So I suppose social media, I have a page called Wellness and Flow, and that's I have a Facebook page for Wellness and Flow, and I have an Instagram page, Wellness and Flow. Or my normal Facebook page would be my name, so it's Julie Tillett, and that's Tillett. So a lot of people only put the one T on the end, and then they can't find me, so
Yeah.
it's on the end. And all my contact details are on there, really. I don't have a website up and running yet because I haven't had the time, to be
Yeah,
honest.
and you probably don't need one with all those social media accounts as well.
Yeah,
Um, to
yeah.
clarify, are you saying wellness in flow or wellness and flow?
And well,
And
wellness and flow.
okay, all spelled out,
Yeah,
and A-N-D. Okay,
yeah. AND.
perfect.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. And yeah, so I suppose that the majority of my clients, that's how they find me really, is normally on the Instagram. And I'm on TikTok as well, but I'm not really on it, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah, maybe later. Maybe when you retire from being a full-time nurse, then you'll have
Yeah.
time to play around with
I'll
TikTok.
get my daughter to be my, what do you call it, my social media manager. She can run my TikTok account, and I don't know. I find Snapchat and TikTok's a little bit, I
Yeah.
don't know, an age thing or what, but I
Yeah.
prefer the Instagram and the Facebook. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, sounds good. Well, everyone knows how to reach you now. And was there
Thank
anything else, any closing parting words that you'd like to share?
No, not really. Just I think that everybody should get Spinal Flow. Just go and get Spinal Flow, even just try it once and see how you get on. You learn so much from it, and you learn so much about people's bodies as well, and you learn so much about your own body. It's just even from the initial assessment, how we do the individual gateway assessments, and try to establish where any of the blockages are, or if there's any stuckness there or anything. But it's a beautiful modality. It's a gentle modality. Anybody can have it. Babies can have it. Pregnant women can have it. Older adults can have it. And yeah, just go and get a session.
I love it. That's a great way to end. Thank you so much, Julie, for your time and for coming on and sharing your
Oh,
story with us. It was super, super engaging, and I loved the story about the farmer, your neighbor. So incredible. I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much.
that's okay. You're very welcome. Have a lovely day.
You as well. Bye.
Bye bye.